had a serious clinical challenge, and at that particular point of time, saving my life was very, very precious. And did go into ICU. I would say nobody could diagnose what the issue was. And finally, after 2 years of rigorous battle, the psychiatrist did come back and then identify, saying that this is something called as gender dysphoria or gender incongruence. Because I need to survive, I need to be on the hormone replacement therapy, and I'm not a born woman, but I'm entering into a womanhood today. So basically, this is my identity. Today, thousands of venture capitalists available. Are they acceptable? Because many people come and say, not for the trans women or LGBT related subjects. India requires leaders in this space. Right. India requires investors in this, but not like I'm coming and trying to do an administrator. Right? I mean, today we are only focusing on administration. There is a different set of breed people that we need to rebuild India. That is where India can, really become number one in tech.
Welcome all of you to the first ever Acharya podcast. I am your host, all-rounder Akshaya. So here we are, it's the Pride month. We at Acharya take a lot of pride in celebrating and pushing the boundaries of the LGBTQIA plus community. And today we have with us the first transgender woman of Germany from Indian origin. She's none other than Dr. Anita Prasad. So we had a lot of conversations about tech, about entrepreneurship, about aviation, about how the transition happened, about society, a lot of things that you would want to hear from a person of her stature. So I'm sure you all will enjoy this episode, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. All said and done, let's go. I'd like to welcome Dr. Anita Prasad to the first podcast of Acharya, the first Acharya podcast. Welcome to the podcast, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
How are you today? How are you feeling?
Very good. Thank you.
I would like to apologize for making you wait initially.
Don't worry about that.
Right, because we have a lot of mayhem going on with Bengaluru going to the finals. Mm-hmm. Are you a cricket fan yourself, by any chance?
I used to play, but off late, when I went to Germany, I lost in contact with cricket, and because we were not getting those telecasts over there. We had to hide and get into some websites and access that still. But okay. we didn't have that kind of possibility. So off late it went away.
So this was when? 23 years ago exactly?
23 years ago.
2002? 2000. Yes.
So
this is the era when Ganguly, Sachin, Sehwag.
Yeah.
Sachin
they were still on the ground and they were not retired. Yeah, right. That's the time what we're talking about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, but I was going through your body of work and I was totally baffled that I had to literally read it, because by hearting this would be difficult. Right, engineering in software businesses across the world, PhD from California, an alumnus of LSE, London School of Economics, and also Bangalore University.
Yes.
You have founded companies in engineering and software. You have been a consultant for industrial automation, robotics, IoT. You have 8 patents. You have a private pilot license, right?
Yes.
And you're trained in Germany, right?
Yeah.
These are all the accolades that 10 people would collectively have.
Correct.
Why did you decide to make 10 people feel that they are not worth anything? How did that start?
It goes back to the old, time. I would say the early, late 70s and 80s. I used to sit and watch the Bangalore airport, the planes landing and taking off. Okay. That time we didn't have that kind of a proper, let's say the infrastructure to not to permit people inside. Everybody were allowed, even on the tarmac, for example. That used to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, we could simply sneak in and then go, watch the aircrafts coming and going. So that dream brought me to become a pilot one day and design an aircraft and fly the aircraft. So that is a dream I was chasing, and of course the academics was something that I wanted to really always pursue and be there in the forefront. So that took me to various levels today.
Okay, so I don't want this to be casteist or something, but then just like how you were having that conversation before.
Yes.
Prasad, right?
Yes.
Prasad usually comes from a Brahmin lineage, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
And Brahmins are pretty sharp. at whatever they do.
yes.
Do you think that parental environment you had when you were a kid also propelled you to do all this?
It could be a gene descendants, as you rightly pointed it out. It
Right.
could be because Prasad in southern India could be a Brahmin's name. It could be because it need not have to have necessarily. Because I have many people coming from different castes, and I've met with them, including the northern part of India. I think they're very different by nature. So yeah, I mean predominantly yes, they are from the Brahmin descendants. Yes.
Okay, also I'd like to surprise my audience. You were saying you have connections with a person who's very powerful. Can you spill the tea?
Well, it goes back to thousands of years, when the Ramanujacharya and the descendants, so many people came, the followers of Ramanujacharya got spread across wherever he went. And wherever he left those temples and further continuation of that religion. At that time, many scholarly people, the Sanskrit Pandits, many left Tamil Nadu and then the southern part of India. They came to Melkote in Karnataka. That's the background all about. And then from Melkote, they mastered Kannada, and then they went into Mysore dynasty. They converted many manuscripts into many in our Kannada language. They had converted, from Sanskrit to, I think that's the Rig Veda what they converted. That's available. I think Mysore dynasty has made an effort, and they had a village also dedicated for them. Srirangarajapuram, still today, it's very much available, known to be an Iyengar's village near T. Narsipura. I think that's the descendants what we are talking, and one of the famous personalities is Dr. Jayalalitha, who's my relative. She comes also from the same place.
So have you used your influence with Jayalalitha and gotten things done in Karnataka or Tamil Nadu?
No, sorry.
Would have met her.
Yeah, I mean, my mother has some sort of a connectivity to that. That's how it is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So I'll come to this part, right? See, now the queer community has got a lot of exposure out there, and people are very accepting. It's a very positive change that is happening in society right now. But 23 years ago, to even accept or even come out saying that I want acceptability of our sexuality is very different. So how was it back then in the early 2000s?
Well, I would say on this planet, let's say we have 205 countries, out of which even today over 100 oppose.
195.
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, even the smallest we take it, and 195
fine.
out of that 100 opposes.
Okay.
And we have all these problems.
Right.
Somebody gives a death punishment, etc. That still continues because they are more religious. They are not factual. So science is more based on the fact. Religion is based on the faith. So of course, obviously, there is somewhere or the other, one or other things are interconnected. But when it comes, I think that requires a lot of effort. It all started, I think, the Pride Month and so on started in the year 1969 when the actual problem happened in America, when they started to refuse. And that's the time where people gathered and they started protesting. And then, the street is called as Christopher Street. So it all began from there. And the Christopher Street actually happened the next year and year after year, and it started magnifying. And many people got awareness. And today I would say at least out of 195, if the 95 is in having a good list, that's a good effort. And still it has a long way to go because many research are taking place on the humanity. Many initiatives are coming up, and many people are coming out and expressing themselves to be open, and people are getting more educated on this particular subject. Until the education continues, the acceptance and acceptability and a oneness to protect the humanity continues. Otherwise, there is a problem.
Right.
So that is where I see that the commendable let's say journey that the whole community has gone through many years ago. And 23 years ago, of course, obviously we cannot say that. Every year we have more awareness, more people coming into the play, more people engaging themselves, more acceptability coming in. The corporates are coming and supporting initiatives.
Right.
More are joining hands. And it's not discouraging. But yes, I mean, the journey, if you listen to any of the LGBTQ community personality, the journey itself is very hard. They are facing challenges. They are facing loneliness. They are facing mental issues. Because, Gen Z is nothing but mental wellness.
Right.
Even before Gen Zs came out, the LGBT community had their mental issues, mental challenges.
Correct.
So, yes, that is where it is going through.
Right.
And we still have some more long way to go. But yes, the effect of conversion has quickened the process, and people are aware, the laws are getting more stronger. So I'm quite happy, I would say that, it's a positive move until now.
Right. No, the thing is, even parents today, right, are
Yeah.
very accepting, or they know how the world currently
Yes.
runs. But
Yes.
23 years ago, that was not the case. And you coming from a conservative family would surely have faced a lot of problems. So can you shine a little bit of light on that?
Conservative family, that,
Yes.
we become suddenly untouchable. In my home, meaning, I had my close family, we are the only three, my spouse and then my child. We were secluded. I was secluded.
Okay.
So basically, I had only one plate, one spoon, one utensil to cook and eat, and untouchable. So that's the kind of experiences I faced. But when the acceptability came with the elders and the other people, I didn't see any kind of further challenges, but I did face an isolation or ostracization, I would say, in my own family at Germany.
Okay.
And I was expelled out as well.
At Germany?
Yes, I was. So that's the small history that I want to share.
No, but how did you go there? Because I thought you went there after you came out to the world, right? That was not the case.
No, actually, I transited at the age 45. Okay,
So it'd be very
yes,
rude to ask your
and,
age right now. But
above 50.
okay.
Obviously.
Right.
And when I wanted to transition, or let's say the problem took place when the clinical challenges came up, and 2 continuous years I was hospitalized. Every now and then I used to go into ambulance, and that used to put me on the, let's say, pre-death, pre-mortuary, probably.
Is this because of the transitioning process
ICU.
that was happening?
No, I would say we didn't know what the issue was, because the anxiety did start. Anxiety, panic attack, increasing the blood pressure, and not able to consume any food. So simple, all the drama started. So it could be because of many other factors. It could be because of the genetic modifications that took place at that particular point of time, or even earlier, or how it happened via food, water, how, nobody knows. But the genetic modifications have taken place, and the communication has gone in a different direction with the brain, and the brain has started to work in a different direction altogether. So therefore, I had a serious clinical challenge, and at that particular point of time, saving my life was very, very precious. And did go into ICU. I would say that nothing happened. Nobody could diagnose what the issue was. Then finally, after 2 years of rigorous battle, the psychiatrist did come back and then identify, saying that this is something called as gender dysphoria or gender incongruence. So this is an alteration that a gene would go, or it has come with a birth-related subject. It is showing up at a later point of time, much later point of time. It could be any reason, any fact. We still have to figure out what it is, because we do have an active genes in our body, almost like 22,000 active genes plus passive genes and the non-performing genes, so on. It's a very complex combination to understand and how the whole body behaves. So I went through that, unfortunately, and that is where I wanted to get into an acceptance And that's the challenge which I faced all of a sudden, where nobody understood. Suddenly they started to, kick me out. And with that trauma, a wound which I cannot express any further. So I had to move and try to settle with something new. Left everything, whatever I did in my past life, let's say as a man, and started a new life at the age 50.
That is a pretty deep story, because I didn't think, because I thought 23 years ago was when it happened and you would have been in your 20s.
Trust me, I had a real king's life, and I could build a big dynasty, work in different levels, and engaging firms and building of the firms, making exits into consulting for industrial automation and so on. But a later point of time, when I had these kind of issues, I lost lot many things, whatever I worked, and that became my previous life, and now I see a brand new life, which is more positive, more colorful, and able to do much more than what it used to be in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are times when, we question a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
Because I, as a man, might question a lot of things, some other person might question a lot of things. So the things that you have gone through physically, emotionally, does it haunt you at times? Like, should it have happened, or would life have been better if it would have been like that only? Does it haunt you, or what is it?
No, I'm not thinking back again.
Okay.
I'm really not thinking back, because that's an open wound what you're again touching back. And I would like to stay away from those and see to it that, what kind of a new contribution can I bring on the table?
Right.
What is it that new that I can bring into the society, and what is it that new that society or anyone who is expecting to be delivered? So that is where I'm actually focusing on working towards.
Right. So if I'm not wrong, you're the first Indian origin transgender woman in Germany,
Yes.
right? So how is Europe more accepting than India? What are the things that you saw differently there?
See, Europe, awareness is pretty much available. Discrimination, yes, it does have. Let's say, for example, in India, we say 10% acceptance or 20% acceptance. Europe, it is like 80%. Exactly that.
Vast difference. Right.
I mean, at least the developed economies, like for example Germany or France or somewhere, you have a chat. That's good. But if you go into Eastern European countries, they still have a stigma. That's very much like
Estonia, those parts.
Yeah, Serbia,
Okay,
all
got
those, Macedonia. You go into those kind of places, you have a chat. Bulgaria, no, we don't know what it is. So basically, there is some sort of a understanding gap still existing. But the Germany or France, Sweden, the Scandinavian countries are pretty open towards these kind of things, including Switzerland, Austria. Wonderful places. But yeah, I mean, still, as I said, it is evolving. People are getting more matured and more involved. So that requires some time to, really come with kind of an 100% acceptability, or know that, what it is. So still the experiments are happening on this particular field, and it is yet to come out. One of the experiments we are doing, one of the largest genetic study we are doing on the planet today.
Wow.
We are launching off with Mysore University very, very shortly. And this will be a very large study that comprises of the whole genome sequencing and understanding the gamut of it. And tomorrow, I hope that, once the study is out in a year or two from now, I think, we may remove that kind of a myth what we studied in our middle school. X is girl, XY is a boy. So we are going to rewrite and say that, how many genders do exist, and why do this happen, and what is this the new study is going to result into. So we will give that kind of an information. These are all facts, figures, information. And that's where we are working today.
So that is why there is a saying, knowledge is power.
Yes.
I think irrespective of where you are and what you are, you should know things so that you can create a positive change in society. Since it's Pride Month and we have a lot of Pride marches happening in the country, I would like to ask you a question that I don't know if it will throw you off board, but what is the craziest Pride march that you have been to in Europe?
I have been to CSD in Munich, Nuremberg, also in Berlin, many places. And in Sweden, the identities are pretty open.
Okay.
So in Sweden, it's like 1 out of 4 you'll see
Nice.
a different gender.
Okay. Okay.
Not the regular vanilla that you meet across.
Okay.
So very different engagements altogether.
Can you like
So,
throw light on that different identification, as in the spectrum of LGBTQIA or something else?
I'll tell you, LGBTQIA, many people say this is a gender, but LGBTQIA is a sexual orientation, right? I mean, lesbian, gay, bisexual, these are the sexual orientations
Correct.
that evolve out of a gender.
Correct.
So you have something gender as a base. So in this, what comes out is, basically you have your gender identity.
Correct.
For example, I come out and then say that, okay, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. Because I need to survive, I need to be on the hormone replacement therapy. And for this particular hormone replacement therapy, and I will be a woman from tomorrow, right? And I'm not a born woman, but I'm a womanhood. I mean, I'm entering into a womanhood
Got
today.
it.
So basically, this is my identity.
Okay.
Right. So this is the way a person transition into it because of various other, as I said, genetics factors, social factors. It could be any other factor that would come into it as an influence. And because of that, the person move into gender related subjects. So they identify. And in
Right.
this category, there are over 100 genders. So person is born as a male or a female.
Okay.
And once they are born under this, there are over 100 different gender identifications.
Correct. Right.
So in this, I may even choose to be a lesbian, I may be choosing to be a gay, I may be choosing to be somebody, a bisexual, or I could be an asexual.
Got it.
Right? So I could be anything. I may choose my freedom. That is the other way of, relating and connecting into the particular field. So this is the myth I want to, correct it and put it across. Somebody became, they wanted to become a dragon, they became a dragon. Somebody wanted to become a dog. You see a man in Germany. Yeah, they have. People have changed and evolved into that.
No, do you think it is more related to our psyche? Because if a person identifying as a dragon and a dog, do you think it is something more than just normal?
See, I would say that it's nothing to do with a psychology of a person, because it is all relating. For example, the way I was affected to shift into a newer gender, the different gender. Like that, they may also have some kind of similar problems, and they may be having a great dysphoria or a discomfort arising out of this. And once they have a dysphoria or a discomfort, they go into a different gender and try to align and try to live like that.
Correct.
We can't help, that's their will and wish. And as a human or a human being, we need to be supporting that initiative. And it could be like, a laughter to somebody, but that is the reality.
Got it. To summarize, the genders are two, but the gender identifications are many.
Yes.
Okay. So, there are many people out there who have come out in the open, but then they do not openly advocate the community, right? But you come out there, you spread awareness. So, why did you think you had to come out there and, push your boundaries and create more awareness about the LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah, I mean, see, collective voices make things much more easier.
Correct.
So this is the approach which I'm also following. I'm nobody, not an exception. Today I go, you just Google me out and you'll find hundreds of videos. Yes, I'm trying to spread that kind of a word and trying to connect to people, and I shout on LinkedIn, I shout on all my social media, still try to stay in touch with all the people, because the kind of awareness is missing. It's not like, for example, this is a June month, and I come out and then say, please be accepting to people. But we are also doing something on an everyday basis.
Right.
We are building something for everyday life. So we also need a recognition, a respect. It's not like gender minority. Today I come and brand myself as, feminine, right? So how much do you brand it and market it?
Correct.
I'm just telling you. So similar way, you also have gender other minorities. For example, I'm a trans woman. I mean something else. I'm something else. No, you can't be branding this. Why don't we look at it as a human being, a problem of a human being, not a problem. When I'm saying that, when we minoritize all these things, when we collectively work together, we are a majority.
Correct.
The other patriarchal society is in a different direction. So
Correct.
start changing that. It's all happening because of the societal rules and regulations, the norms that we have built. So let's realign ourselves and restart change so that we are able to, quickly change, or let's say add that fast-paced environment for the world to accept and be more humanly.
Perfect.
And that's what we are missing.
Perfectly phrased. So, one thing I have seen is when people come out to the world, they have some restrictions that they put to themselves, like professionally, right? They are not very outgoing sometimes. Now it's changed, but then you have done a lot of things in your life. I would want to know that from you only because there is a saying in Kannada, Shankarinda Vandarane Tirtha anta. So I'd like you to throw more light on the amazing work that you've done.
Previous life, of course, I told you I was into aircraft design and
Till 45.
Yeah, till 45. I
Okay.
did. There were 8 patents you read that
Right.
came out of that, and I was thrown out of the house. Where a lot many things
So
happened
you
after
had
that.
your spouse and your
Daughter.
Okay.
And then I came out, and then I started something new, went into robotics. Now, with just one software from the robotics, we have about 42 patents registered now. And again, another version which we went into hardware, and that particular hardware has bought us another 10 patents. And another hardware which is into humanoid and other capabilities, which is again leading another 400 plus. So I'm interested in adding more innovations into India. That's the motto which I came with.
Very nice.
I'm not here to do kind of big business or let's say build that big wealth which I left behind. So I'm interested in building up the tech, building up many people, and that's what I've been doing. Trained about 600 plus women, and today we have over 600 MSMEs.
Wow.
We should be happy because of this, and we are doing it for free, and we are still continuing to do this. It's like 1 year achievement, I would say. And apart from this, from these women, whatever the produce comes, we have sophisticated it. We have made sure that the quality and those people are in an extreme hygienic environment, not poorly branded, or let's say something is packaged so that chemically thrown out in the public or sold in the public. So we have really redone that, and a brand called Srijan has been launched as well. So this is a luxury product, and we are trying to compete with, for example, a brand like Kama or Forest Essential or somebody like this. Try to place there and be there in that particular place at a much more economical cost.
Yes.
So this is the kind of engagement that we are trying to do, and many more are coming up. There's something more. Again, I'm keeping my foot in the aerospace industry, and so on. So let's see, how the future is going to be. I'm working towards it, and I don't want to leave that as a bad feeler. The end of the day, what is here, you cannot take it out.
Correct.
Maybe the wealth is gone. I don't care, but what I can do, I'm doing it.
Very. But do you sometimes miss talking to your daughter because they say Karulina Balli in Kannada? It never goes off.
True. Yeah. I really miss, and I go into some depression, many times, and that creates a lot of trauma, and that has left a deep scratch, and it puts me into depression, of course. I openly admit that, and that even brought me to a place where I got a stroke. So to that level it went, but I'm trying to overcome. I'm trying to accept and be in that kind of a reality. I know now what the reality is, but I still keep the pace up, and I never give up anything.
Right. So I'd like to talk about We India Pride and Rainbow Angels. Right. You're
Yeah.
building something that is very rare in India.
Yeah.
So why do you think it's essential to build a queer-focused ecosystem?
Yeah, very important. See, today there are thousands of venture capitalists available. You just go walk across and you get a lot of venture capitalists. Are they acceptable? Because many people come and say, not for the trans women or LGBT related subjects, we don't want to fund. There is no exclusive fund, for example. Do we have an access to it? Yeah, I mean, why don't we club all together? And those with a like-minded people, put them all in one basket. Try to see to it that those people who have made inventions, who have some sort of businesses coming out, not just selling the rainbow flags or something
Correct.
like this. We are not interested with that. What's so innovative? I mean, you are from Gen Z. You are more outgoing. You want to be proving something to the world. You want to be somewhere abroad. What is it that that we can work together so that your company becomes a billion-dollar company in next few years down the line? And how do we see the rainbow road? I call this as a rainbow road because that's where it actually adds a lot of revenue into the Indian economy and the stream. And how do we create this and how do we magnify it? And that's what we are interested in. And that's where my focus are going to be.
Right. So I might sound a little dumb, but I will ask you this question. We identify the community with the rainbow colors, right? How did that start? Do you know how did that started? So that we can kind of talk about
It is nothing but a colorful life.
it? Okay. Is there any person who
As
started it?
colorful as this, yeah. I mean, it all started in the New York, as I said rightly.
Correct.
So it started from the Americas, and then it went into some different places. This is what the history which I know. I could be wrong, but this is how it is.
Okay, okay.
It went into this, and many pride parades took place, and the colorful life is coming out with this colorful flag, and that's the kind of representation. It's nothing to do with, let's say, for example, the vulgarity or whatever. The many people are talking about that vulgar. This person is not good, and they're not dressed appropriately or whatever, because there are certain societal norms and regulation. Because the other side, if you see on that particular parade and on that particular day, a person is freely expressing themselves. They're not vulgar. They're trying to show that this is my identity. They are telling the world openly, this is what I am.
Correct.
And this is the time for the society to look at that and to accept it in a more formal way than rejecting them and saying and calling them as vulgar.
Correct.
That's the message what I want to pass over to the
Very
world.
nice.
And of course, the colorful is because they have chosen that path, and their life has to be more colorful as it goes forward.
Very nice. So you have exited from 2 firms, if I'm right?
In the past, yes, in Germany.
Yeah. So what are those myths that you think are around in the market about entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is difficult and it is very tough. For example, to become a trans woman is extremely tough. I mean, much tougher than what your business is going to be. At least 500 folds, or let's say many thousands of folds. But when you are trying to run a business in a success, that itself has some certain challenges, and your compliances and everything matters. And that is where it all depends on a person, the skill, how they are working out. Because they may say that I'm coming from a technical background and I'm not good in marketing, I'm not good in something else, and this is the kind of people what I meet. But today, having that kind of wonderful tech at the background, and especially coming with a different set of generations of people, I don't see this as a hindrance. Yeah. And it has to be something what people should use, or let's say collaborate and build an enterprise, rather than showing that kind of a hierarchy. It should be a flat organization, right, for you to be more successful in the nature.
Right.
So I think more clever and smart people are available today.
Nice. And the other thing that intrigued me is that you've worked with Airbus, if I'm correct.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you've worked with both commercial and military
Yes.
aircraft.
Yes.
So how challenging is that, or how exciting is it? Because they say it's not rocket science. The nearest thing I can find to rockets is aeroplanes, right? And it's very complex. So how is that science, and how can someone get into that stream?
It's not a difficult subject, as you
Okay.
rightly said, because see, any machine that get built today on this planet has definitely a lots and lots of cables, probably 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds of the planet goes into one aircraft,
Okay,
right?
right,
So
right.
like this, and then you have the design of various structures.
Right.
So it's nothing different. But what happens is the kind of materials that you choose to design this is always a challenge. So what happens is when you come into an aircraft design, you have a high level design and a low level design. So high level design retains with the main company, the owner, right? And the low level design is what generally our regular Janata public will carry on.
Okay.
So that means the regular engineers who say that, okay, I'm able to do this, go ahead, design this, you analyze, you do that kind of meshing and all those stuff, you prepare a beautiful product, you come back to me. This is what will happen. But if you look at the high level design is a master sketch, and that's a master stroke where the owner retains that kind of role. And that is where the actual skill that comes in, and one has to learn that over a period of time it will come into the effect, and it is not immediate. And I know that there are many people who are working with Airbus, Boeing, and many aircraft manufacturers across the planet, and India is one of the predominant supplier, because if you see this L&T or Tech Mahindra or any bigger company, TCS, many are into this kind of a business. They are supplying, they are the tier one vendors for many aircraft builders, including company Quest, where I used to get engaged. This is a background what happens, and of course the mastery of the high level design is yet to happen. I think that is something what our the parental let's say the forefathers company in Bangalore still lacks. That is the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and the National Aerospace Laboratories, and many DRDO. Many of us lack that, and we are still trying to figure out how do we get to that, and what is it that the new thing that can come from the Western society for us to learn and implement it, so that we are also in a place where we can compete. And that is where I went and started to leverage in Europe. And I built my own plane. I tried to work with those professors, and we tried to build it. And I'm sure, whatever HAL could do, or a little quicker probably, I'm not sure. I'm not talking to that kind of a level. But yes, some scratches were made from my side. But I'm yet to come out openly because that knowledge is certainly available. And one or the other day, we can try and build this and bring it forward into the society.
Very nice. So how much was the investment for a flight that you built there in Germany? How much did it cost?
No, that cost a few millions.
Okay.
Euros, few millions of euros. But of course, when you want to really bring that into a certification to run, you need, 3-digit millions to run on.
No, but this was military, right? Because you're talking HAL.
No, I'm saying civil or military.
Okay.
You bring it into a consideration that you are also supplier to a DRDO agency.
Got it.
But everything you require some sort of a innovation and a different sort of an infrastructure. It doesn't matter where you want to supply. Either you go into the civil aviation or everything goes into the DGCA.
Correct.
So
Correct.
end of the day, you get an approval, or the European Special Agency or wherever, somebody has to certify this. And once the certification process happens, you go into the design back and forth.
Correct.
You modify everything. And then, finally, aircraft is allowed to fly. So this is the kind of process, and that's where the money actually drains down.
Okay.
The majority of investment goes into that, not with your design or to come out with it.
Got it.
That's how it is.
So since we're speaking so much of design, I'm sure you would have flown an aircraft.
Yeah, pilot.
So when was the first time you flew an aircraft? And how did the licensing happen?
Oh, that's a private licensing, and
Okay.
I went and got enrolled with the Munich Fliegerverein, and then the guy was very good. Hans, so he's a very good friend of mine, and 45 hours of flight, then you got the clean sheet,
Nice.
First was the radio license, and then we focused, and then second was the other solo flying. And yeah, once you have it, go ahead, do what you want to.
Very nice. So, did you read the news that HAL, Andhra Pradesh is claiming HAL? About that, do you have any idea about that?
Yeah, I mean there is something happening. It's
Yeah.
political, and I would say that see someone says that I can do better. Someone says that okay, I gave an order 35 years ago, and you guys are not worked. What is the real reason? Because it could be the various other reasons, in my opinion, because HL has signed MOUs and non whatever compete agreements with various levels of companies across the world. So it's a very complex environment for them, and I'm not sure what could be the kind of factors because the technology acquisition is a major issue. Whatever we want to do in India, we always have a challenge. And if you look at the engine Kaveri, is a disaster because of various other reasons. We'll not get into that. So even recently they had to come out. I think the last year I think they decided that we'll not go ahead with this development. But privatization is very important. This is the reason why a private player should come in. And I had met with the Padma Bhushan Dr. Venu Nair, who was heading the ISRO then, and also probably the acting CEO of Mahindra long ago, I think way back in 2012 or something. And the conspiracies, the politics came into the power. So always this has been a very political area also. And it's very difficult for one to survive. So therefore, let's say for example, if some dedicated organization available with funds, with abilities to perform, and with international cooperations, and to do something in India, is a much awaited situation today, what we are actually looking for. And that's what India requires. India requires leaders in this space.
Right.
India requires investors in this particular space. Not like I'm coming and trying to do or become an administrator, right? I mean, today we are only focusing on administration. Okay, I put 1 rupee. How much can you give me tomorrow morning? I mean, there is a different set of a breed of people that we need to rebuild India. And that is where India can, really become a number one in tech. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, there are various factors. You can't be stopping. You have to be enabling people.
Right.
That is the situation. What I want to say. Okay, how much central government? I also, used to meet with them. How much can they support? How much can they survive? No, they cannot, because they are also struggling hard. They have been inviting people, guys, wake up and come. We are ready to give you this ABCD, but sorry, we don't have. Why? This is empty. We can't go. We can't be doing anything in the northeastern states. Why? And today you talk about suddenly a patriotism or whatever, it happens all of a sudden, peak, and then after that you vanish. This is the situation what we are actually facing, and this is a real issue. And I think one of us need to really sit down and then say, okay, this is the kind of investment. These are the level of people that we are engaging. Let's work and streamline and start building India. And these are the younger minds. And there are many institutions available and wonderful books all around. But, are they really valid? Everyone are living in ChatGPT world today.
Very true.
Everyone are living in a robotic world today. So what will robot say? Immediately you copy paste it and you become an engineer. This is not something what we are looking for. Your thesis also gets built and your PhD is copy pasted.
Right.
So this is something what we want to avoid. The sudden, all of a sudden, brainless, crowd. Getting into the academics and trying to change the world and become a good program, let's say a prompt manager becomes a professor today. That's not something what we are looking for.
Right. So we spoke about patriotism, and I think I have an ideology about that. Do you think the reducing patriotism in the country, do you think it's reducing compared to what it was 40, 50 days before?
I
40,
wouldn't
50 years
say,
ago.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no. I mean, the patriotism is really there, but only thing is people don't know how to channelize and to make this a win situation.
Okay.
Because the younger, the earlier generation was not able to do that because the foundation was missing. And now the foundation is being laid. Whatever we distracted, the Gen Z is trying to correct it, if you look at it. And then you go into the next phase, which is again distracted with the Western communities.
Correct.
You are bringing in a ton of influences. For example, the Facebook is loading, Google is loading, everybody are loading with the information.
Western content, yes.
And our entire data, our entire country's information is available with the West. Whatever we want to do is available. You want to know about me, it's available from the West.
And it is vice versa also.
Yeah,
right?
and what is the business? What is the business that we have in India that is sustainable? And one gentleman, I was telling him, I have built an NLP, I have built something else, and I want to do, I want to build really that kind of a system. He says, why do you want to reinvent the wheel? This is the question. This is a serious concern in India. There's nothing to do with patriotism. This is to do with thinking, the mentality. People are not interested in terms of spending that kind of efforts to become successful or not thinking about the younger generation. They don't mind giving away to the external public. Today, this is what we are happening. The foreigners are running. This morning, you wake up saying good morning in your WhatsApp and also connecting to your telegrams, also connecting to your signals or whatever. Show me one software that is built in India. Who is knowing you? A foreigner is knowing you. Right. This is a serious concern that I'm trying to address.
Right.
This is called as patriotism. Not like, you know certain things, you have money, you have certain activities, invest for your country.
Perfect.
Don't just make something, a robot, which will work on some robot which has been built by a West.
True. No, I think when that discussion happened, when Mr. Piyush Goyal came and spoke about the entire startup ecosystem.
I mean, I
in the
want to
country.
build a robot. That's where it irritates me. I want to build a robot. I will sit with my people and discuss. Why will I call an American and sit with them?
Perfect. True.
Am I right?
Yes.
And that is what is irritating me. Why there are no, educated, don't we have any educated crowd in India? Who can guide, who can say that, okay, I want to do this. You can't build your NLP because, it's like catching a ball at the boundary line. We spoke about cricket, right? It's
Correct.
Catching a ball at the boundary line, cloth will be dirty. Build your own LLM. You can't build your LLM because it is risky business today. Yeah, this is the problem. And if we try to build it, no, we don't give you money because you are a transhuman. What if you die when you are walking? This is a discrimination. This is stupidity. This is, I don't know, whatever you want to call it as, you call it yourself.
Correct.
This is what the situation is today.
Or it can also be a way where the governments are trying to force in FDI without trying to expend from our pockets.
Today government is looking at do anything, everything, because our government called people. They met with NRIs. Modi ji travels everywhere.
Correct.
He met with all the NRIs. There are no enterprising people coming out and then talking to him. And this is a real serious issue. There are no innovators. There are no real change makers. Today we are only talking about, 10 minutes app builders. How much money can I build in next minute? इसमें से पैसा आएगा, that one will fetch me money. This is what we are all interested with. We are not interested in building a real tech, real India, so that we become dominant in terms of whatever the data we have is given to somebody else. And they all are flourishing because of we good people.
Right.
You know how much they make? $10 a person per month. So that means we are talking of a billion population. What's your number?
10 billion.
You are giving it away. You are giving it away. You are making people wealthy.
Got it. So the numbers are pretty mind-boggling, and it's not just this. There are a lot of loopholes in the system. I don't know, probably the Gen Zs or the Gen Alphas, if they come to power, hopefully if the boomers or the late millennials give young generations opportunities, probably then an entire...
I will tell you. See, I asked, we are building a small
Okay.
mosquito robot. Okay. A mosquito robot will have a very, very nano engine, I mean, a motor. So we requested people to work on it. We even invited students to be participating into this. But they don't have the knowledge. They don't have required information. And today you go to the professors or you go to anywhere, wherever you want to access, we don't have. Okay, even though you design, you bring some sort of a wonderful design into the infrastructure, but we don't have a place where a motor can be manufactured.
Correct.
Right? And a sensor can be manufactured, a transmitter can be manufactured because it's too tiny. We can't do it.
Get it from
we
China.
have some size. Whatever.
Right.
Look at the kind of problem and the dependency that we have. I'm just giving you an example. Like this, it could be happening in genetics, it could be happening in many research areas where we are fighting and struggling hard.
Right. Man, I want the conversation to keep going on and on and on, but since we're running short of time, I'd like to request you to give a message to young India, young Karnataka, and young entrepreneurs and kids who are lost in their phones. What do you have to tell all of them for the betterment of society and for India?
I mean, I will say that, guys, anything that you scroll will not give you knowledge. Very simple. All that you require is some sort of a real school where you can start building your own things. Be an innovator. You could be a psychologist. Doesn't matter. You can always come into something else. You could be a filmmaker, I don't care, but you can always come into a different set of area and try to still be more productive or make other people more productive. Because of your efforts, I know it is hard, but because of your innovation, your ideas and your next level movement, that is what it will bring India into a different level. Not like I keep meeting whoever we meet, they are so low level and they are so struggling hard. We want to come out of that mentality. We want people to come out of that mentality, start building something extraordinary, so that India as such, from the Western economy, because many of them want to go out,
Correct.
go abroad. The moment they go abroad, they see all sorts of challenges. And I used to see that the German engineer used to have a design called as, this is designed by a German, designed by an Indian. This is the difference. So that means our learning is very bad. That means, can we become better? Can we become an example to him the other way around?
Correct.
Rather than we getting into a trouble. So that is where I think we have a long way to go. And want this younger India at least start dedicating, focusing, read, get into the right research, not with your GPTs. GPTs can enable you to become much more faster. But keeping that pace, go to the next phase. And that is all plus point for us.
Awesome.
And today the information is available. We can read anything, everything. In our generation, way back, no, it used to be. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anita Prasad, because there are a lot of things to talk.
Yeah.
And it is very refreshing to find someone who's done so much in life, who has a deep knowledge in robotics, in aviation, in tech entrepreneurship, and also pushing the boundaries for the LGBTQ community, trying to create a positive ecosystem. Yes. Thank you so much for being our first guest, because Acharya has always been known for pushing the boundaries and being very open to the LGBTQ community. Thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you.
Looking forward to a lot of contributions from you, not only for Karnataka but also to the country, because we need people like you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.